The restaurant buzzed with laughter, crystal glasses clinking beneath golden chandeliers. But at one corner table, a single woman sat alone. Maya kept glancing toward the door, pretending to check her phone, the way people do when they're trying not to look like they've been stood up. Her palms were clammy. The waiter passed for the third time, offering a polite but pitiful smile. Around her, couples leaned closer. Laughter echoed. Every giggle felt like an echo of her own humiliation. She had told everyone, even her boss, that she was finally bringing someone to the company's dinner party. Someone who wasn't just a friend, but her so-called date. He never showed up. Her throat tightened as she reached for her purse. Maybe she could just leave quietly, save herself the shame. But before she could stand, headlights flashed through the glass. A sleek black limousine pulled up outside. The door opened, and a tall man in a tailored suit stepped out, adjusting his cufflinks like he belonged in another world. Every head turned. Every whisper stopped. And then, he walked straight toward her table. Maya's breath caught. He leaned down, his voice calm and low. "Sorry I'm late," he said. Traffic was murder. Everyone watched as she froze, too stunned to speak. She didn't even know his name. If this moment made your heart skip, stay with us, because what happened next will make you believe in fate again. And before we continue, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell, because here on SoulTwist Stories, we share the kind of tales that touch the heart and stay with you long after the screen fades. Just 24 hours before that dinner, Maya was sitting in her tiny one-bedroom apartment. The kind where the walls were thin enough to hear her neighbors arguing and the fridge hummed louder than the television. Her hair was tied up in a messy bun, her laptop open on the kitchen table, and the glow from the screen highlighted the past due notice pinned on her fridge. She was a junior marketing assistant, the kind of worker everyone forgot to thank but relied on for everything. 3 years at the same company, yet still overlooked, underpaid, and invisible. That company dinner meant everything to her. It was her one shot to prove she belonged there, to show that she was worth seeing. Her best friend Tessa had laughed when Maya confessed the truth. "Girl, you can't show up alone again. They'll never take you seriously. You need an image." That word, image, echoed in Maya's mind long after Tessa left. By morning, she'd made the most reckless decision of her life. She opened her phone, went to a rideshare app, and typed, "Are you available tonight? I need someone to pretend to be my date. I'll pay." She hit send before she could change her mind. It was desperate, embarrassing, but she didn't care anymore. Then, hours later, a message appeared. "Sure. What time should I pick you up?" No profile photo. Just 2 letters. EJ. Maya almost didn't reply, but something about that message felt different. Safe. And for the first time in a long while, she felt seen. Little did she know, she had just invited fate itself into her life. The restaurant doors swung open. Every head turned, and so did Maya's. Through the soft glow of chandeliers and the clinking of glass, a tall man in a charcoal gray suit walked in. His confidence was effortless, quiet, the kind that didn't need attention but commanded it anyway. He scanned the room once, then walked straight toward her table. For a moment, Maya forgot how to breathe. He looked nothing like she imagined, not a rideshare driver, not a hired date. He looked like someone who owned the place. "Maya," he said, his voice deep, calm, and steady. She nodded, half frozen, half embarrassed. He smiled, not the smug smile she expected, but one of kindness, like he already knew she was scared. "Sorry I'm late," he said softly, pulling out her chair as if they'd known each other for years. And the way he did it, gentle, respectful, made the entire restaurant go silent for a heartbeat. Her co-workers across the room whispered. She saw their eyes widen. One even mouthed, "Who is he?" Maya's pulse quickened. This wasn't supposed to happen. He wasn't supposed to fit in this well. The waiter approached, awkwardly clearing his throat. "Would you like to order, ma'am?" Maya opened her mouth, But the man, her pretend date, spoke first. "We'll take the chef special," he said, handing the waiter a black credit card. The waiter froze. Even from across the table, Maya saw the shimmer of the platinum emblem. And that's when she realized, this man wasn't what he seemed. But before she could ask anything, he leaned in and whispered, "Relax. Tonight, you don't have to prove anything to anyone." The warmth in his voice sent shivers through her chest. Then he smiled again, that same calm, grounded smile, and said, "Let's give them something to talk about." The dinner began like a scene out of a movie. Maya tried to act natural, but every movement felt exaggerated. Her laugh, her posture, even the way she held her fork. Across from her, the stranger, Ethan, spoke with ease, his voice calm yet magnetic. He didn't talk about himself. He asked about her. Her job. Her dreams. Her favorite song. It wasn't what she expected from a man pretending to be her date. "You ever feel like people only notice you when you're useful?" he asked. Maya looked up, startled. That was her thought, not his. "Every day," she admitted quietly. He smiled knowingly. "Then maybe tonight. You should stop trying so hard to be noticed." Something in his tone made her heart ache, as if he understood a loneliness she'd never said out loud. For a moment, the noise around them faded. The clinking glasses, the whispers, the judgment. It was just the two of them, lost in a silence that felt safe. Then her phone buzzed. A message from her coworker. "Girl, you didn't tell us you were dating a CEO." Her breath caught. She looked at Ethan. CEO. That couldn't be right. He was a cab driver. Wasn't he? She stared at his watch. Sleek. Expensive. His cufflinks. Engraved. Her chest tightened. None of this made sense. Ethan noticed her expression change. Something wrong. She shook her head quickly. "No. I just..." But she couldn't finish the sentence. The restaurant manager suddenly approached. "Excuse me, sir," the man said with nervous respect. "Your car is blocking the entrance. Shall I move it for you?" Maya froze. Your car, not the cab. Ethan's calm smile never faltered. "No need. I'll handle it." He stood, placed his napkin neatly on the table, and turned to her. "I'll be right back," he said softly. "Don't run off too soon." Then he walked out, leaving Maya surrounded by murmurs and stares. The truth was creeping closer, and she didn't even know it yet. Minutes passed. Maya sat alone at the table, the flicker of the candle reflecting off the glass of her untouched wine. Her hands trembled slightly as she stared toward the door Ethan had walked through. Whispers rippled around the restaurant. "That's Ethan Ward, isn't it? The hotel tycoon. What's he doing here?" Her breath hitched. Hotel tycoon. The name sounded familiar. Painfully familiar. Before she could piece the thoughts together, Ethan returned. But this time, he didn't sit down. He looked different, his posture heavier, his eyes softer. "I think there's something I should have told you," he said quietly. Maya looked up, heart racing. "You're not a cab driver, are you?" He let out a small laugh, tinged with regret. "No, I haven't been one for a very long time." He paused, searching her face. "But once, I drove for someone who changed my life." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small, worn photograph, the edges faded. He set it gently on the table. Maya leaned forward and froze. It was a picture of a young woman, tired eyes, soft smile, standing in front of the very diner they were sitting in. Her mother. "She used to serve me coffee when I could barely afford rent," Ethan said quietly. "I was a nobody. And every night, she'd save me leftovers so I wouldn't go hungry." Maya's throat tightened. "That was my mom." Ethan nodded slowly, his voice breaking. "She once told me she had a daughter with big dreams. A little girl who'd grow up and see the world." Tears welled in Maya's eyes. She passed away 2 years ago. He looked down, his hand gripping the edge of the table. I know. I was at the funeral. I didn't say anything because I didn't think I deserved to. Her heart cracked open. Why? He met her gaze. Because by the time I became successful, it was too late to thank her. Everything I built, every hotel, every company, started the day she handed me a cup of coffee and said, "You'll make it someday." Silence fell. Maya pressed a hand to her mouth, sobbing quietly. He took a breath. When you called me tonight, when you said you needed a date, I didn't even know who you were. But when I saw you, I saw her. Her tears shimmered in the candlelight. You came anyway. He smiled faintly. Because I owed her that. And I guess I owe you too. The truth hung between them, heavy, healing, and impossibly beautiful. The restaurant had emptied. Only the low hum of jazz music and the faint clatter of dishes from the kitchen filled the silence. Maya wiped her tears, still staring at the photograph. Her mother's smile, frozen in time, seemed to glow under the soft candlelight. Ethan leaned back, his eyes glistening with a mixture of guilt and peace. I didn't know how to thank her, he said quietly. But maybe it's not too late to do right by her daughter. Maya frowned softly. What do you mean? He took a deep breath. You said in your email you work at Everbright Agency, right? She nodded cautiously. I own it, he admitted. And I've seen your work, the designs, the reports, the creativity you bring even when no one notices. You've been working harder than people twice your pay. Her lips parted in disbelief. You're my boss? He smiled faintly, more like the man who's been waiting for someone like you to remind him what humility looks like. For a long second, Maya couldn't speak. The irony of it all, the cab driver, the fake date, the quiet man who'd carried her mother's kindness for years, it was overwhelming. But Ethan wasn't done. He reached into his coat and placed a small envelope on the table. Inside was a business card, embossed, simple, with her name printed beneath the title, Creative Director. Maya's hand flew to her mouth. I don't understand. He smiled. You earned it long before tonight. I just needed to see for myself what your mother always saw, heart. Her tears came again, but this time they were different. Lighter, freeing. Ethan stood, offering his hand. Come on, let me show you something. Outside, the night had softened. The limousine was still waiting, its headlights glowing against the quiet street. He opened the door, the same door she'd once thought was just part of a cab, and gestured toward her. This isn't a fairy tale, Maya, he said softly. But maybe it's the start of something your mom would have smiled about. Maya hesitated, then stepped inside. The city lights shimmered against the glass, her reflection overlapping with her mother's memory. As the car pulled away, she turned to him. You know, she used to say one kind act can change someone's entire story. He looked out at the glowing skyline. She was right. A quiet smile crossed Maya's face as the camera lingered on her expression. A woman who'd finally found peace, purpose, and a reminder that kindness always circles back. If this story touched your heart, don't stop here. Every story on this channel reminds us that kindness, love, and second chances still exist, even in the most unexpected places. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and join people who believe in stories that heal. Because the next one will move you even deeper.